I'm responding to tonight is stem cells are the future of modern medicine. Now, my claim is that there really is no controversy on this subject, and it's not an argument. I'm also going to point out a questionable source on my opponent's evidence. The three secondary claims that I'll be making is: one, the controversy on stem cell research is rendered mute by the development of iPS cells from skin rather than embryos. Number two, even groups that fought embryonic stem cell research admit that it may be used to cure diseases. And three, I'll point out the questionable source in my opponent's evidence. Now, the controversy on stem cell research all came from embryonic stem cell research, that is, research on embryos by pro-life groups who believe that a baby is born at conception rather than birth. My first secondary point is that the controversy on stem cell research is rendered mute by the development of iPS cells from skin rather than embryos. Last year, scientists developed a way to do the same kind of research previously done on embryos, but on skin cells, by transforming them into iPS cells. The research that they've been doing on the skin cells rather than embryo cells has been hailed by pro-life publications like lifenews.com, which call it a major advance in pro-life science. And it's really not a controversial issue now that the embryos aren't being killed to do the research. My second secondary claim is that even groups that fought embryonic stem cell research admit that it may be used to cure many diseases and will be beneficial. Christian Research Institute has a publication called Christian Research Journal, which gives a concession to stem cell research in an article specifically opposing it, saying, "Why would Hollywood celebrities enter a world of congressional hearings? Because fetal tissue research, especially research on embryonic stem cells, is being trumpeted as a great scientific breakthrough and a biomedical revolution. This revolution, they say, could lead to cures for Alzheimer's, Parkinson's, diabetes, AIDS, and more. They're campaigning because they want to see taxpayer dollars go to research programs that may alleviate suffering." So in a very article condemning embryonic stem cell research, they admit that regular stem cell research can be very beneficial. And that's why the whole point is mute, that stem cells are the future of modern medicine. It's probably true. My third secondary claim is about my opponent's questionable source in his research. He quotes an article by one Jacques Doubleday to question the effectiveness of vaccines in his second point. Jacques Doubleday is actually not a doctor. In fact, he is a self-described AIDS factualist, vaccine factualist, birth factualist, and 9/11 factualist. For a few years, he has had a standing challenge on his website for a doctor or a CEO of a head of a pharmaceutical company to come and drink ingredients to a vaccine without the bacteria. And many doctors have responded to his request, which, by the way, has a reward of $2,000 for anyone, $200,000 for anyone who will drink the mixture. And all of these people were turned down for so-called mistakes in their applications. Maybe he's a crackpot, we don't know, but certainly not a reliable source for expert testimony on the effectiveness of vaccines. In conclusion, the main point, stem cell research, stem cells are the future of modern medicine, is mute because the controversy is ended due to developments of more humane ways to extract stem cells, and even groups that fought embryonic stem cell research admit that it's probably the future of modern medicine. And this Jacques Doubleday really undermines my opponent's evidence and his assumption that vaccines are not effective. Thank you.
All right. right, well, you labeled your points pretty clearly, and you're applying them to the advocate's position, I think, adequately. On the first point, you basically have suggested that the issue that is controversial has been replaced because of new developments. I think you need a little bit more information on those IPS cells and the likelihood that they're going to resolve these ethical conflicts. It seems to be mentioned in passing in the article that you cite, and so I think you need a more active citation of information on that point. On the issue about the controversy on the second point, I thought that you did an okay job on that, although your attempt to use the advocate's evidence basically to show that these things will work, I'm not sure that's the concession by the other side that you say it is, and there's probably a better way to express that. On the third point, I thought you presented a very effective challenge to the quality of the evidence when he's trying to dismiss, or the advocate's trying to dismiss the vaccine issue, and if this is the only evidence that the advocate used, I think we've got a good reason to doubt the credibility of that particular source. It's a factualist. I like that definition. That's somebody who's unwilling to deal with the facts, I guess. Now, I got one little issue for you, just you want to pay attention to. The word is moot. Mute means you couldn't hear it. Okay. Moot means it's no longer an issue because it's been resolved. So you want to get that one right. Because you wouldn't want to make that mistake someplace else where we don't have the supportive group of people that we have here.